Honourable member for Scarborough North is rising on a point of order. I have a few.
Mr. Speaker, we have had discussions amongst the parties, and I believe if you seek it, you will receive unanimous consent for the following motion. Whereas Canada and Sri Lanka share deep people-to-people ties, whereas in recent times, countless lives have been lost to senseless violence, natural disasters, and war in Sri Lanka, whereas Canada condemns the recent terrorist acts targeting Christians, prayer on Easter Sunday, and civilians at hotels in Colombo, whereas Canada condemns the recent anti-Muslim violence in Sri Lanka, whereas Canada stands together with its allies and partners around the world in condemning all acts of terrorism, violent extremism, and hatred, whereas this month marks the 10th anniversary of the end of the 26-year armed conflict in Sri Lanka, yet peace and reconciliation have not been achieved, whereas the report of the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights investigation on Sri Lanka in 2015 established that war crimes and crimes against humanity were committed during the end of the armed conflict in Sri Lanka, whereas truth-seeking and accountability measures are critical for realizing justice for the victims, ending impunity, and ensuring lasting peace and reconciliation. Therefore, this House, 1, extends its condolences to all the victims of violence, terrorism, and war in Sri Lanka. 2, supports the government of Sri Lanka in its efforts to pursue justice for those affected by the Easter Sunday attacks, protect the rights of religious minorities, and defend all places of worship. 3, reaffirms Canada's call for Sri Lanka to implement its obligations under UN Human Rights Council Resolution 30-1 and 40-1, and reaffirms Canada's support in advancing accountability, peace, and reconciliation amongst all peoples on the island. And 4, calls upon the United Nations to establish an international independent investigation into allegations of genocide against Tamils committed during the last phase of the war in Sri Lanka in 2009. Thank you.
Does the honourable member have the unanimous consent of the House to move the motion? No, there is no unanimous consent.